Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello. I hope everyone's doing okay out there. With everything going on in the world right now, stuff happening in Hawaii and other places. Today, I'm going to look at the whole idea of the Generation X being perpetually adolescents. And that's one of the things that it in itself, even though I am a Gen Xer, is kind of fascinating, because my wife will tell you in a heartbeat that I'm a big old kid. It's 100 plus degrees out, so now I've heard different YouTubers, different people that do Gen X videos, do very good Gen X videos. They're in part my inspiration for doing the long form videos. I'll have links in the description below to some of my favorite ones, but as it is, we got this thing of us being perpetually adolescents. And I have to agree with it, because I do some really childish crap from time to time. It's just it's just my nature. And a lot of people that I know that are in my own age group are still doing the things they did as 15, 16, 17-year-olds, as far as like reading comic books, playing games like Warhammer 40K, Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that, with the same zeal and same vigor, the excitement they did when they were teenagers. I honestly don't see anything wrong with it. Henceforth, one of the reasons why the baby boomers, when we were coming into our own, were worried about us being big old kids with power. And to a certain degree, that worries me too. Because one of the things that we hold from our adolescence is we may not hold a grudge, but if afforded the opportunity to give somebody that wronged us in the past their comeuppance, we will. And we will do it with all the vigor and planning that we can. It's just what we do and how we do it. Now, I don't think it's a question of us holding grudges. I think it's more of a thing of us exploiting opportunities, and opportunities are going to come our way here shortly as your baby boomers die off. And that's what they're doing. They're holding on to the last vestiges of their power, i.e. that's the reason why you've got people like Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell, that are way beyond the age that they should be actively doing stuff, still trying to hold on to that power. They have that authoritarian, I want to be in power, I want to be in control thing going on. And it will, and as they die off, I mean, let's look at the last few interviews that McConnell's done. McConnell's been an obvious health concern. I wouldn't be surprised if there's stuff that we don't know about Biden as far as his health concerns go. We'll probably find out about it after he leaves office, but that, you know, that being said, he is going to shape, and these people, these older people, your Bidens, your McConnells and stuff like that, are going to, when they leave power, when they a lot of them, you're going to have to throw dirt on their face before they give up their power. But as the Gen X moves into power, and Gen X being really adaptable, and like I said, adolescents, we're going to want to reshape everything in our own image. And I think the Gen Xers that haven't sold out and become part of the establishment are going to find allies in the millennials, the Ys, the X's, and eventually, I believe the alphas. I mean, the alphas are being born now. So it's going to be another 20, 25 years before they start moving in on their own. But I honestly think with our childish outlook toward things and being the perpetual adolescents that we are, I think it's going to be easier for us to communicate to the younger generations than it is for the boomers. I really don't think that most, and of course there's always going to be outliers, there's always going to be exceptions that prove the rule, but I think overall, baby boomers, as they thin out, as that herd thins out, and we start to move in, you're going to start seeing a lot of social changes, a lot of environmental changes, a lot of things that frankly as kids that we were beat about the head and shoulders with as kids, things like climate control or climate change, stuff like that, we're generally speaking as a whole, we're going to be more receptive to fixing those problems and finding better alternatives. And there are some boomers, the boomers that came up with the idea of wind power, solar power and stuff like that, I think are laying the groundwork for us kids to come in to build on it, to advance it. Like I said, there's always going to be outliers, there's always going to be those people that are going to be either, that are going to still, the people that are actually Gen X that are going to still be more along the lines of the boomers. It happens in every generation. You have millennials out there that are more Gen X than they are millennial. And I really don't like the term zillennial just because it makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. They're millennials, especially a lot of your transition from Gen X into millennials, you've got a gap on either side. And I call it personally a 5-year gap. Let's use 1980, January 1, 1980, as our start of the millennials, and December 31st, 1979 as the end of the Xers. But you can go back 5 years from 80, and you're going to have that group of Gen Xers, and you're going to have from 80 for 5 years that are going to have some of the characteristics and some of the belief systems of the Gen Z. And it's this 10-year from about 1975 to about 1985. I think when those people start moving into positions of political power, whether it be at the local, state, or federal level, I think those are the people there that are going to promote the most change and the best change. Me, I was born in '69. I've got too much of the wild in me. When we get out of this summer or this hellscape, probably start to cool off probably middle October and into November, I'll probably start doing videos off hiking trails. I'll go go on a hiking trail, set the camera up, do a video. So I can be anywhere from state park, national forest, anywhere. But right now it's too hot. I am not going to go hike 4, 5, 6 miles in 105-degree weather. I'm not 20 anymore. If I was still 20, might do it. But, when I was 20, I was indestructible, or at least I thought I was indestructible. To a certain degree, my wife accuses me of still having that mindset sometimes, especially doing work, cutting. We've got a lot of dead lumber from last year's drought, and we've got some piling up. In fact, we had so much dead lumber or dead trees. I keep saying lumber, but dead trees, and that even through the winter burning once or twice a week, I still got a large pile of dead wood I need to get burned or otherwise processed into usable stuff. Some of it I'm going to take, some of the oak I will probably take and seed it with wood-friendly mushroom spores, or I should say mycelium spores, and grow maybe some shiitake or something like that. And a lot of the softwood, a lot of pine in East Texas. I'm going to burn it. Some of it I'm going to let go to ash, put in the chicken coop for the chickens to dust bathe in. Some of it I'm just going to burn to charcoal and use the charcoal in the ground, adding carbon to the ground, stuff like that. I also will take some of it and just grind it into small pieces and put it out and bury it for my mycelium. Because I have a fairly healthy mycelium colony under the ground here. And I'm getting hyper-focused, aren't I? Yes, I am getting way off track. But see, that's part of the whole adolescence thing. I pick a project, find something to do, and just kind of hyper-focus on it. But this whole concept, and I approach things, according to my wife, in a very childlike resolve. I tend to approach the whole thing of, I can do this. It might take me, 400 times trying to figure out the right way to do something, but damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it that way, get it done, and rock on. In fact, there have been times like chicken coop. One of these days I may do a video where I have the chicken coop behind me. But the chicken coop, my chicken coop, her father, my wife's father, is an engineer. Very intelligent man, great at putting stuff together. So when we came up with the concept, the plan out the chicken coop, him being an engineer, he wanted to do everything exact, you know, measure twice, cut once, beautiful philosophy. We were near the end of getting the coop together when we had a board that was a little bit too long, and my father-in-law, being older, not much older, he's only about 7 years older than I am. He was born 61, I was born 69, so that's what, 8 years? And if you figure in the months and days and stuff, I think we sat down and figured it out once. He's like 7.25 years and some days and some change older than me. But we took a break and he's figuring out how to, you know, how we need to cut it and what we need to do. And I was at the point I just wanted to get done for the day. So, well, he was in the house, and I went in, and I came out. Me and my wife came out because my wife was kind of in the same predicament. We'd been working on this thing for like 3 or 4 days straight, and we were almost done. So I took the board, screwed it into place, and just took chainsaw and cut it. Just cut it flush with everything else. And when my father-in-law came out and saw what I'd done, he looked at me and just kind of smiled and went, well, there's that way of doing it. And like I said, that was just a impulsive, childish, let's put this up, cut off what we don't need and move on. And that just amused my father-in-law to no end for like 3 or 4 months. Every time the subject came up, he was like, yeah, that time you know. And the way he told it was kind of like a parent talking about a teenage kid doing something rather impulsive. At the time, I was in my mid-40s, so yeah, you know, that was a good example of the impetuousness and the adolescent mind frame. In a lot of ways, I've also matured, I guess. I think that's the word that the normies use. There are some things I take very seriously. There's things that I take very adult stances on. Like, I'm of the opinion that the age of consent, the age you're allowed to vote, and the age that you can join the military in America should all be the same age. One shouldn't be 18 and the other one be 21. No, it should all be the same age. Because if you get one benefit as an adult, you should get them all. And that is one of the things that I take very seriously. I take my property, I take my gardening and stuff like that seriously. And yes, I garden. My wife does too, but I tend to do a little bit more than I kind of go up and beyond. It's like next spring I plan on planting some yellow dandelion, not yellow dandelion, blue dandelion, which most people know by its alternate name, chicory weed, in which you use the root and you can make a coffee-like drink, which is pretty bitter by itself. You mix it, or you can grind it into small bits and mix, roast it, grind it, and mix it in with regular coffee as a filler to stretch out your coffee. that works too. Being from Texas and living so close to Louisiana, I've grown a particular fondness for chicory coffee. That's just me. And another thing you can do is dehydrate or dry out yopon leaves and crush those up and grind them with your chicory root and mix all that into your coffee. You get like a decaf coffee, and the yopon leaf, not the berries will make you sick, but the leaves are the only natural source, the only plant in North America that naturally contains a caffeine molecule or a caffeine relative. It is not near as strong as the caffeine in, say, tea or coffee or soda, but it is non-addictive. You don't have the addiction that you get with standard issue caffeine. So there's that. And just on a side note, because I'm already down this side road, the caffeine does not wake you up. What caffeine is a melatonin inhibitor. Melatonin is a chemical your body produces that tells you to go to sleep, makes you sleepy. All caffeine does is inhibit those receptors. And that's the reason why when you have a caffeine crash, it is what it is, because all of a sudden you have all this melatonin in your system, and all of a sudden the receptors are open and they're trying to receive as much as they can. So that is your health tip for the day, the more you know. But I think it's the reason these side trips I went on is because of our adolescence, our perpetual adolescence. Because we get excited about things like this. We get, you know, we still have that young kid enthusiasm about new things, learning things, doing things. We have that, and I think that's part of the whole thing on the perpetual adolescence. So I will go ahead and leave you guys here. Next video I'll be posting will be Sunday. It's going to be a rabbits video. Then Tuesdays and Thursdays I put up my Generation X videos. So, and before I go, I need to thank all the good people that have hit the subscribe button since I've started these videos. I appreciate it. My Gen X videos are the first videos that I've put up on my channel that have passed 50 views. And I've been doing this channel for about 4 or 5 years now. I'm gonna be honest, I am happy when my view count is higher, equal to or higher than my subscription. The people that are subbed. So some of these videos getting, 100, 150 views, I'm like, woo! I just scared the crap out of a bunch of baby cardinals. But that whole, it's great to be a Gen Xer, I guess. It's great to have that, childish enthusiasm that, about new things. So let me go ahead and wrap this video up. And until next time, peace.